Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is FinestXI, and today I have more Tarkov news for you. I'm gonna try and make this fast. I have fireworks going on outside of my house, and it's very much interfering with what I'm trying to do here right now, but we're gonna ignore that, and I'm gonna tell you guys all about what is happening right now. Okay, so first things first, there was a Russian community podcast that happened today featuring Nikita, and it was translated into English by my friend Sneaky Russian. I'll put his links down in the description below, because without him, none of this would be possible, and I wouldn't be able to tell you this right now. Okay, right away they started talking about the upcoming 12.7 expansion. They said it's almost ready. It's going to feature the customs expansion, a general rework of things, new scav boss, so probably the shoreline scav boss, new weapons, and fixes and changes as these patches usually do come with. They actually also said that we will be getting preliminary patch notes next week. So at the time of this video, next week would be somewhere between July 5th and July 11th. So we can expect preliminary patch notes somewhere around that time. Next, Nikita pointed out something that I've been experiencing a lot of recently. He has been noticing recent server issues, even though general usage isn't high, and it's causing desync issues. So lately there has just been an increase in CPU usage on their end and the server's end. They're not exactly sure why, but it is causing some desync issues, and oh my god, I have been experiencing those desync issues, and I'm sure everyone else has. So they're aware of it and they're working on it. They also said that a third of BSG is working on Streets of Tarkov, so they're, you know, as usual, hard at work on that. Then they talked a little bit about the previous Twitch drops and how they were more structured this time to showcase different streamers on different days. They said a lot of work went into it. They're pretty pleased with the outcome, and I think most people are pretty pleased with the way this past one went. I think it was better than the first one for most people, so you know, always a possibility of that happening again in the future. Next, the guys talked about the possibility of getting reserve type windows on customs. So the reserve windows you can actually jump through if you jump and crouch through them. It's really convenient to get in and out of a lot of places fast, and reserve, I believe, is the only place that's like that right now. So they're thinking about bringing more of those types of windows to other maps like customs, so that'll be fun. I think it's really cool to be able to get in and out of buildings that way. It just adds a new element and more depth to the tactical aspect. There is going to be a grenade launcher, a stationary one, in the new customs expansion, and apparently from what I've heard, it's going to have a very wide field of view. It's going to be able to see a lot of the new part of customs, so be wary of that. Then they went on to say that they're working on new gear and new guns, so expect some of that sometime soon. And the next thing they talked about was kind of eye-opening. This is straight from Nikita. He said the Flea Market originally had the found and raid mechanic, but it was first implemented without found and raid to see what would happen. So what we're experiencing now with the current found and raid Flea Market was always going to be that. It was meant to be this way from the beginning, but they wanted to see what would happen for fun if they left it without found and raid. And I think what they realized and what did happen, people took advantage of the market. You know, 3 days in a patch, people corner the Salewa market and make billions of rubles within the first week of the game, week of the patch. So I think this found and raid is what was always going to be this way, and I think it probably should be this way for the longevity of the game and for the sake of the economy. This next one is a point that was stressed quite a few times by Nikita in this podcast. He said, we've been turning the economy slowly to make it harder to make money. This game was originally intended to be a hardcore survival where you were supposed to find things and be happy about it. So finding a little pistol grip in the raid, finding a little flashlight, an attachment, whatever you find in the raid, they want you to be happy about it, meaning they want the stuff to be scarce. They want the stuff you go out and find to actually feel rewarding. So one thing that was stressed a couple of times, as I mentioned in this podcast, is that they want this game to become more difficult than it is currently, and it will be heading in that direction. So you need to enjoy the ease of things as they are now, because it is not always going to be this way. All I can really say about this matter is I can't really tell what the future is going to be like for Tarkov, but I can speak on what has happened already and share my experience with the history of Tarkov. So I started back in 0.9. The game was a lot different back then. There were no meta animations, there was no wait system. It was somewhat harder and somewhat easier back then. There have been numerous patches and numerous mechanics that I swore up and down would break the game, and I swore I would never play the game again after they were implemented. And you know what? Once or twice I may have stopped playing for a week, but I always came back. I always got over it in a timely manner, and it never mattered as much as I thought it was going to matter. If they continue to ease into the more hardcore mechanics like they have been, I don't think it's going to be a big deal to any long-time player. We're kind of being conditioned as we go to get used to these things, and I promise you it's always worse in theory on paper more than it is in actual practice. So I just encourage you to keep an open mind and just do not let these things stress you out. Continue to practice the game, continue to get better at the game. Don't worry about the future. Let's just enjoy it now. Nikita also said that the original concept had traders locked and you had to travel to certain areas to access them, and that is still in the back of their minds. So there was always talk of an open world Tarkov where you had to travel between the maps and they were all connected, and there was no in raid, out of raid. It was one giant map that you traveled in between. And so I guess that is still, or at least a variation of that is still on the table. But again, I wouldn't worry about it too much right now. That is probably not going to happen anytime soon. Again, Nikita said that the game is supposed to be frustrating and that you should suffer. I am not making this up. This is what he actually said. And this is not the first time he said this either. He famously said the game is not supposed to be fun, if I recall, a few podcasts back. So you're just hearing it again. This game is supposed to be difficult, and it is. He also said that they are making the game they want to make, so please rest assured they're not just listening to all these streamers. They are doing what they want, and they know that the game has become harder recently, and that is what they want. They did that on purpose. The next thing they said is that they don't like to tell people ahead of time what is coming so that they don't have time to prepare. For instance, if you were to be told that M995 was going to become limited, more limited than it is now, you would probably stock up on it, and they don't want that to happen. They want to avoid stuff like that. So that's why they never tell us ahead of time what's going to happen as far as limitations or changes, because they don't want people to be able to prepare for it. No melee reworks anytime soon, but apparently that is something they will get to eventually. Takedown animations is still something they would like to see. A new weapon was showcased today on Facebook and Twitter. It's supposedly the MK18. A lot of people thought it was a RSAS or RSAS variant, and it is not. It is the MK18. I will put a picture of that in this video. This next thing they talked about, I hope I'm not misinterpreting this. I'm not exactly a gun nut. I'm not very experienced with firearms at all, but they said they want to add multi-caliber barrel replacements. When I hear that, I think, oh, barrels that let your gun shoot a different type of ammo than what it is originally supposed to shoot. For instance, you stick this barrel on an AK and it can shoot M995, or you stick this barrel on a M4 and suddenly it can shoot 545 Golnik. I'm not sure. Please don't get too mad at me if that is not what multi-caliber barrel replacements means, but that's what I believe it means. So that could be fun and could add a lot of variation to the weapons. They went on to talk about DLC, if you can believe that. I know it may seem like a bit of a meme to talk about DLC for a game that is still in beta, but they do have a couple of DLC planned. Possible sniper trader DLC that sells a bunch of exclusive sniper parts and variants. So Scav Life DLC is still planned, so that one is going to be literally an update and overhaul to your scavs. So it's going to be way more in depth than it is now, which will be really cool. Keep in mind, by the way, if you have EOD, the Edge of Darkness edition of the game, you have access to all future DLC already, is what they say in the fine print. So eventually they want us to be able to get into labs from a bunch of different places. Customs, Streets of Tarkov. Labs is going to become this place that you access from inside of a raid. To enter a raid on customs, you'll enter labs through that customs raid. And then they went on to say, once you finish that labs raid, you're going to have to get back out through a different raid. To go in through customs, theoretically, you get into labs. And then once you exit labs, if you do survive that far, you'll have to get out of another customs raid or Streets of Tarkov raid to actually fully extract and get all that gear back to the stash. So that sounds completely brutal, but I'm excited to see how they actually implement that. They went on again to say things will change. The game is going to become more difficult. Constructive feedback is always welcome. So guys, please, instead of yelling fix the servers at them on Facebook, please try something more like, I dislike what you did to the M4. Maybe you could try doing this. That's constructive, whereas fix the servers is not constructive, just in case anyone was confused about that. So the next wipe is very possibly going to be in 12.9, but 100% going to be in 0.13. So if it's not in 12.9, it will be in 0.13. Test servers are going to be coming as well. I think that's something that's needed so they can try and test out new changes without breaking the existing server, so people can continuously have a stable quality product to play while the test server gets the new buggy stuff. Clan feature is planned only only a rough draft is made currently, so eventually in the future there will be some idea, some concept of clans, and that was some benefit to that. Next phase of Steam Audio is coming. Needs a lot of optimization, so currently just would be way too taxing on everyone's PC, so they just need to further work on it and make it better. Next thing they talked about was that hacks make development difficult and it really slows them down. They've said this before, I'll say it to you now. All of these hackers are making them take tons of time away from what they actually want to do to focus on the hacking issue. If there were no hackers, they could speed along development of the game and content faster. If you hack in Escape from Tarkov, I'm assuming you enjoy playing Escape from Tarkov. Well, if you enjoy playing Tarkov, please stop hacking so we can get a better Tarkov. 200 IQ, I know, straight from the developer's mouth. Please stop hacking. They did mention that currently they have beat radar users, and that is a quote from Nikita. Supposedly what they have done recently has just completely stopped radar users in their tracks. If you don't know what radar is, it's basically like wall hacks where you can see where people are on some second screen or some BS like that. Speaking of BS rounds double damage bug they believe is fixed, and that should be coming back soon to Prapper. I have a tweet here in front of me I'm going to show you here in a minute. BS is now back as a purchasable item from Prapper. Before we get to that, new function is going to be added to the stash where you can lock items and stop them from being handed in accidentally. Quick story, a few wipes back, I kept a WT rig in your gamma. That was something you could do to get 10 slots in your 9 slot gamma. I had all my key bars in there, all of my valuables and unworldly possessions. There's a task where you have to turn in WT rigs to Ragman. Lo and behold, I get to that task, I turn in my WT rig because I see that I have one, and come to find out I lost all of my keys, millions of rubles. It really sucked. There's going to be a feature that stops that from happening. So if you keep your keys or valuables inside of WT rigs or Black Rocks or Pilgrims, there will be a quality of life improvement that lets you tell the game, hey, never turn this thing in. It's important. I don't want it to be accidentally turned in. So that's very nice of them to do. Next was talking about cheaters again. It was Nikita basically saying, if you feel you've been cheated, please send in a report, preferably with video evidence. And to help you do the reporting, there is now a cheat report that you can access through the launcher. And I believe I can access that right here. If you hit report bug, it pulls up this little window. You can scroll down on this drop down list and hit suspicion of using cheats, type in the nickname of the player you think was cheating, describe your problem, and I believe there's some way you can attach video evidence in here as well. I think this is what got added. If this has already been here, I apologize. I've never personally used it and I'm very sorry, but using the cheat report will send a notification through BattleEye and BattleState simultaneously. So not only will BattleState get the report, BattleEye will get it very quickly as well and possibly be able to handle the issue very, very swiftly. The subject of VoIP came up again. Nikita said that he is scared of adding VoIP to the game, but they just need to do it. It will happen. So we will eventually get VoIP for better or worse. That is something that's still going to happen. And then the final 2 points of interest that I want to go over with you guys are these right here. First, the weight system was originally limited to 28 kilograms. It is currently 40 kilograms, but it will go back down to 28 kilograms for sure. So this again has to do with making the game harder. They are for sure going to decrease the max carry weight. That's going to be huge. I can't wait to see how that goes for them. I support them. I think we'll get through it, but that is a tough pill to swallow for many. No word on when that is happening. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon though. And the last point here on my notes, there's going to be a transfer place between scavs and your stash and the ability to sell directly to traders from your scav. So instead of getting out of your scav raid and then transferring all of these items to your inventory and then going to your inventory and selling them to the traders, there's going to be this quality of life improvement where you can directly sell right out of that scav raid to traders, sort of like a middle, like a limbo where these items can be held. They don't have to go back to your stash before you can sell to traders. So that's gonna be a nice little quality of life improvement. I'm excited for that. And then that's pretty much everything they talked about in the podcast. So some doozies for sure, but what I'm excited for most is the preliminary patch notes coming next week. I can't wait to see all the juicy details in that. This just came out. Well, I say just came out. This was 5 hours ago at the time of the making of this video, but what I wanted to show you guys were these 2 tweets, and this will be the last news that I have to share with you today. Battlestate Games tweeted out that they added alpha containers for purchase from Peacekeeper level 2 for 99% of people. That literally doesn't affect anything, but you have the ability to buy that if you want. Upped quantity of items to spawn in plastic weapon boxes. Briefly during the podcast, there was a mention of the green weapons crate spawning the best stuff and every other crate kind of sucked. And Nikita said he might know what's going on, he'll take a look at it, and supposedly he did. So now the quantity of items in the other boxes that aren't green has now been upped. You should find better loot there. Lowered stress resistance required in Skier Flint Quest. It was 8, now it is 6. Shout out to J-Dream, who probably just finished getting his stress resistance to level 8 like at the time of me making this video, only to find out that he just had to get it to 6 now. Also upped sell prices for several items: heavy armor, video card, dry fuel, etc. I'm assuming they mean to the traders. I don't exactly know too many details about this, but apparently you will now get more for these items is what I'm understanding here. And the last thing to share is that BS ammo is back to purchase as a barter, and I assume, let me actually open up my game and we'll check this out right now. Okay, so I see the good old hot rod trade is back, max 3 per reset. I'm actually gonna buy a couple of those right now because I've been saving up so much hot rod for this trade, but I'm not seeing the just BS for sale. Please forgive this mess. Act like it's not here. I was supposed to clean this over the weekend and I haven't done that yet, and everyone's gonna be super mad at me on stream tomorrow. By the way, I do stream on Twitch most days of the week, so if you want to come hang out and yell at me, links are down in the description below. We'd love to have you join us. But I'm not seeing it for sale on an actual trader, but it is just for barter on Prepper, I guess. So grab those hot rods if you want some easy BS ammo. Enough rambling. That is all the Tarkov news I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this was informative, and I hope you guys are at least somewhat excited about what is to come. I know I am. Lots of juiciness to come in 12.7. Patch notes next week. I'm super excited to read them. Like I said, links to all my socials can be found down below. Also, feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn on alerts. I do put out a lot of YouTube videos. They're basically daily at this point, but I'm not going to say I'm doing daily videos because then if I don't do them, I'll feel bad. But I'm doing a lot of videos. So subscribe, like, comment, let me know what you think of this. And for now, have a wonderful day. I will see you in the next one.